Hi, this is Dana, and on this channel I speak about spiritual warfare. I have another channel on astrology and the Facebook page on which I write prophetic writings. You will find that in the description box below. As usual, the caveat, there are individuals who are impersonating me, stealing my identity, using my identity to do fraudulent activity against me and against others. So please be cautious and avoid interaction with them. Now, for this video, God has guided me to talk about a topic basically related to a situation in couples when they become karmic. God asked me to give me examples from my own life. I really don't like that. I have done already a lot of this, sharing personal information based on God's request. And I asked him to actually this time just find a different way to convey this message, because I really don't like so much sharing about my personal information. Also, I believe it's more important the message that you have to receive about spiritual fighting, and I don't want people to focus on my story so much. I will write my book, and in that book I will explain all details about my own story, but in the work I do in carrying out the word of God from God, is I personally want to focus on sharing lessons, not sharing personal information. I don't want my videos to become some sort of I don't know, TV show of personal information sharing. I would like you to actually focus more on the lesson that you have to learn, and not to become these videos some sort of telenovela watching movie about my life and stuff like this. Yeah. So I worked with Jesus for some time now in order to reshape the information which I'm sharing in such a way so we will focus on the message that you must receive and not on my story, because this is not what I want to do. So the message basically is related to couples, and God has shown to me he wants me to talk about this because there are people who are not able to close cycles. They cannot close timelines because they literally don't find the proper way to cut off connections in karmic relations. And this can be love relations, marriage relations, and even work relations, and friendships, and whatever, family, and so on. Any kind of relation, yeah. And there are a few issues very important to note in this. There is a trick which darkness is playing on people, namely to some sort of, first of all, it makes strings to everyone involved in a karmic situation. Even if you have been doing the right thing and you have been staying in your light and being a correct counterpart to whoever you're working with, still there are strings attached to you by wounding you, by hurting you. That is also a string. Even if you did not retaliate, it doesn't matter. That is still a string which is attached to you. And basically, the trick that the darkness plays on you is that somehow it convinces you that you need closure with that individual, and it drags you into endless discussions or even conflicts with that individual, even when you have a good intention of reaching a common agreement on closing that relation. So it's not necessary that you must be a toxic person, but you just allow to be pulled into a toxic cycle, into a toxic engaging type of relation, by not being willing to cut off that individual and to extract yourself from the situation. And it's very, if this happens, as I said, there is a sort of darkness which has strings on you and pulls you into these fights and literally feeds on you. It literally feeds on the type of negative, low vibration emotions which are unleashed in you. Either that it's a fight and both of you start saying bad things to each other, or even worse, you start fighting physically or something, or hurting each other, insulting each other, lying about things to each other. It can spiral into total madness. But even if you don't engage with that, even if you are trying to be the correct person and to be the bigger person and to be respectful and try to literally, honestly find a closure for that situation, you must understand that it can still feed on you. It can still has a string on you, and it still affects you. It still feeds on you. So it's not beneficial. Now, any kind of relation, and this is something that God has shown to me to speak about, namely, any kind of relation can become karmic. There is a point when either that a certain bondage is being repeated or that a bondage is being created from the scratch. One of the two individuals will give into darkness, into temptation, into whatever kind of darkness is being sent. Either that is jealousy, envy, I don't know. There are so many different ways in which, or addictions, and it starts with the cheating, with the stealing, with the so many. There are so many ways in which darkness can infiltrate between the two people. Yeah, there could be just one who gives into darkness and starts doing all of these bad things, or it can even be both of you at some point, which drag each other into that karmic situation. It becomes, and this is how it becomes karmic. Even if the two of you were supposed to be a divine couple and each of you is a divine partner to each other, you can still become karmic to each other and you can still enter a karmic cycle, because at the end of the day, what we must remember is that the assignment for 3D was that we are sent here in order to break these bondages. Now, if you don't succeed in breaking the bondage, then the bondage will take power over you and you will leave that bondage. That means you will enter into a karmic situation. Hopefully, you understand the situation and you cut off and you break free. But if you don't, and you engage into that and you insist on staying into a karmic situation, you become karmic yourself because you give power to the darkness over you. We are all in human form here in 3D. That means sooner or later it will get to you. It doesn't matter how much control you have over your emotions, over your energy. Sooner or later, if you insist on staying in a karmic connection or even a karmic situation, then you will become karmic. There is no other way to stay in light but to cut off karmic situation and karmic people. And to my mind, karmic is being defined particularly by the stubbornness of staying in that situation or in that connection or in that, I don't know, circumstance, basically, because there are other situations like work relations and so on. When you must love yourself enough to walk away, to let it go. You must love yourself enough and you must love light enough in order to just cut away the individual, the situation, the circumstances, people, places, locations, and so on, which become karmic to you, which pull you into a karmic circumstance, simply because by being stubborn and staying into that, you just give power to darkness, which will take power over you and will overwhelm you at some point. And you will end up saying things which you will regret later. But then it's going to be much more difficult to cut it off. There are, of course, different nuances on how this can come about. Now, I think the most important message of this video is that you must understand that there is always a chance. And God has shown to me, for example, any couple can become divine couple. If you both stay in light and you evolve on spiritual path. I already made videos and I explained to everyone that any individual, regardless what is the race that you come from, regardless what is your lineage, regardless what was the purpose assigned to you when you actually came into incarnation, by doing spiritual work and evolving spiritually, by signing up with God for a spiritual assignment, you can become divine counterpart to someone. You can become a spiritual warrior, even if you were not meant to be initially for this incarnation. You can become anything with God. But that requires that you work with God and you evolve. Staying on the topic of the couples, I go back and say any couple can become divine couple if the two of them work together. I explained in another video that a couple always has divine protection once they come together. That means if they come together in good faith towards each other and towards God, of course. Not if they come together with ill intent towards each other. But if you come together in a decent, honest, and innocent way, the divine realm will create an aura of the couple. The two of you have individual auras, and the two of you together have a common aura which protects you from darkness. Yeah. Once one of you, immediately as one of you starts betraying the other one, either through actions or through thoughts or emotions, either by hating, by cheating, by being jealous, by being envious, by stealing, by selling contracts on the other, and so on, you lose that protection for the couple. You lose the protection for the couple, as simple as that. And this is the first step towards becoming a karmic couple. Yeah, because then darkness takes more and more hold of at least one of the two. Yeah, and darkness attacks are being felt much stronger. As I explained, on each dimension, there are certain number of low entities which are present in that dimension. And once you don't have the protection, the divine protection, those entities have access to you even if nobody sends them. Once the couple loses the divine protection, you start feeling that darkness much more. This is how couples that are together and maybe they started having a good perspective, loving each other or appreciating each other or whatever, they end up many times being very unhappy with each other, not being able to find peace, fighting constantly, and so on and so forth. Yeah, so it's losing the divine protection for the couple. It's a huge step into the direction of becoming a karmic couple. Of course, God will give chances for observing what is going on and for changing and trying to, of course, do redemption and fight for the couple. But that has to be a deeper type of fighting, a spiritual fighting, to cast out the darkness which you already took upon yourself. Do you understand? So when you already started taking steps towards becoming a karmic couple, it's not enough to have dialogue on mundane issues and try to find closure and common agreement on certain objectives or certain things. That is not enough. You need to do spiritual work on yourself and to be honest with yourself and with God what you have done wrong, that you brought that darkness in between the two of you. If you don't do this, no amount of dialogue or therapy will help you to get closure. or to get the two of you together again. Nobody, because there's darkness there. And if you don't work on casting out that darkness, really doesn't matter how much therapy or dialogue you carry out on this, is that darkness doesn't go away. And you're only talking about issues which come between you, but you don't talk about the main, most important issue why those things came between you, namely that one of you betrayed in one way or another. There are many ways to betray the one next to you. So again, any couple, God actually confirmed this to me before I started making this video. Any couple, even if you were not the divine partner of that of your spouse, you can become, with divine help, you can become the divine partner of that individual. God will always, as long as God allowed you to come together, will invest effort in helping your partner to level up and to come with you together on the spiritual path. But that individual must make effort into it, because that requires that individual to embrace the assignment from God, to do spiritual work in order to elevate and to become a divine partner. You cannot sit idle and wait lazy for God to make you divine partner to your love interest, as long as you don't do work, because that requires you to elevate to the level of that person. And God is willing to do that with all couples. Actually, I asked God before I made this video to make sure that I'm getting this right. And God confirmed to me, any couple receives divine support and help to stay together, even if they were not assigned from the very beginning to be together as a divine couple. They can become a divine couple, but there's work that is requested to be done in order to achieve that. So if the two of you love each other enough and you work on yourself enough, God will help you to become the divine couple you desire to be. But you have to request a spiritual assignment from God to be the divine partner of your love interest. God will do and will activate embodiments on you in order to help you to become a certain couple. Maybe not the couple that initially you thought, but you'll become a couple. But again, you need to work on that. Quite the same, a couple which is assigned to be together, man and woman, when they come into incarnation as divine couple, can become karmic if they work against each other, if they harm each other, if they betray each other, and if they insist in staying in a karmic cycle together. Particularly if the two individuals, in spite of being assigned to be a divine couple together, are at an entirely different level of elevation, of spiritual elevation, and one of them has to learn certain lessons which are not an issue for the other one, or one of them has to end karmic cycles, and the other one basically is not involved in those karmic cycles. There are many circumstances in which a divine couple can become karmic. Please keep in mind what I already said, namely that these individuals with their convents and their matrix worked for a long time to create bondages, particularly on the divine couples which were meant to come together. So at this point in time, for a couple which came into incarnation with assignment to be together as divine couple, it is requested that they would do a lot of spiritual fighting to break individual bondages which were created particularly to preclude them from coming together. Yeah. So literally what they will do, they will work on each of the two individuals, and they will create bondages on those individuals which come head to head in such a way so there will be no freaking way that you accept the other one. I'll give you an example. One of you will become righteous and will embrace spirituality and a life in light with faith, loyalty, love, and so on. The other one will become exactly the opposite. One of these individuals believing in open relations, that both men and women should have endless number of partners, cheating on each other, cheating with each other, and all sorts of criminal activities which go head to head. So they do this on purpose. They create these bondages on purpose to make sure that whoever you become to be as an adult person, your belief systems are in such a clash, in such a conflict with each other, that even if you learn that you should be together, the profiles, the psychological profiles, basically are just in conflict with each other. You cannot be together unless you do the spiritual fighting and you break those bondages and you do the healing and so on. Now, many times it could be that it's much easier to just be on your own, clean yourself up, break all the bondages, and ask for a new assignment. It might be that sometimes it's even more difficult to come together with your divine counterpart. It's more difficult than to come together with a new embodiment, somebody totally new, who hasn't been subjected to the same type of bondages which were created to preclude him to become a couple with you. So I said this in other videos, namely that you must preserve flexibility because there's been so much bondage creation throughout all of these years that basically everyone who wants to be successful in spiritual fighting should be flexible and should be working with the divine realm more or less into shaping up a completely new strategy on how to evolve spiritually, what type of embodiments to take upon yourself in order to succeed. And you shouldn't cling to anything that was foreseen at your incarnation simply because they have created way too much bondage on that, and it's difficult to break it. Not impossible, but of course it takes a lot of work. Now again, to the topic that was guided to me, namely that you must make sure you do not stay stubbornly in a situation, a karmic situation. It literally, what happens is that the wounding becomes deeper and deeper and deeper. The addictions become stronger, and basically everything becomes more difficult. Yeah, it becomes more difficult for you to heal. Personally, I'm a strong believer in the fact that the true closure about the end of a couple you get on your own. Because let me explain to you why. When a couple becomes karmic, and I have experienced this to some extent because I also have been through a divorce, so I know how this works. Once a couple becomes karmic, or the connection becomes karmic, even if it's just in the beginning of becoming karmic, it means that already some dark forces are involved. And those dark forces, again, I say, will work to create conflict between the two of you, to create, because they feed on that. Now, if you're gonna split, to my mind, first of all, what's the purpose to have endless fights over what? If you already decided you're gonna split, why I need to have a dialogue? Why I need to come to what conclusion about what? This is just a trick in order to keep you going back and forth over the same topics, over the same, releasing the situation and the individual, surrendering to God. All of that is to my mind, the best way you can do You can, in order to embrace healing and to find closure on your own. I have seen with my own eyes the type of things which are being said at the separation are literally crazy stuff, which literally doesn't make sense, which literally it doesn't represent anything beautiful. I haven't heard of a closure, of a decent closure at that phase of separation. Not in the situation of the karmic cycles. I believe that you can get your healing on your own. I believe the other individual, especially the one that created the karmic situation between the two of you, will be lying a lot. And I have seen this with my own eyes, people who lie not so much to convince you of that lie, but they lie in order to justify themselves, even if they know full well that this is a lie, what they're saying. They would say the stupidest things possible, which really don't make sense. And as long as you engage with that only to show to an individual that this is stupid thing which you say to me, that is already pulling you into a conflictual relation. And all of that is happening only because there is darkness, at least in one of you, if not in both of you, which wants to feed from you. From the one who's saying that, from the one who's listening to that, from both of you. Yeah. So I believe this deeply, and it's been confirmed to me. And I believe that as long as you already decided that this is a karmic situation, karmic relation, I want to split, I want to go my way, I believe that having minimal discussion decently, but not engaging in conflict and in fights is the best way to go about it, and focusing on your own path now. If you decided that you're going to split, why you waste time to have discussions anymore? Why don't you focus on yourself, on healing yourself, on projecting a future for yourself, recreating, taking the opportunity of a new beginning in your life, and trying to see, is there anything else that I want to change in my life since I'm splitting from this couple? Is there anything else that I want to change? I want to change location, I want to change profession, I want to change whatever. Habits about, I don't know, eating, doing sport, being more healthy, even spiritual path, maybe to do more mystic prayer and to ask more divine guidance, there are so many ways in which. So I think this is what you need to do, and doing all of this will help you, first of all, detach yourself from the circumstance and even from yourself. You detach yourself, how to say, if you have been in a marriage and you're divorcing, by recreating yourself, you detach yourself from the one who you were, namely the wife or the husband of so-and-so. By doing that, you get the opportunity to watch yourself from a distance. Do you understand what I'm saying? So if you're in a couple and you're splitting, you are identify yourself as the counterpart to John. Let's say you identify yourself as a counterpart to John. At the point when you become a karmic cycle, that identity is full of toxicity because of the connection is toxic. If you put an end to that and you walk away and you redesign your life, and you simply detach from that identity as counterpart or spouse to John, and you get a chance through mystic prayer and healing to just stand as observer of yourself and look back of who was I as a spouse to John. Was I happy? Why wasn't I happy? Was there something missing that John didn't give me? Was there something missing that I needed to give to myself and John was precluding me? or just being his spouse was precluding me, and so on and so forth. And I believe that kind of approach, it leads you to finding closure and healing of that circumstance, of that relation, and of yourself. And you and God will work with you if you do this in such a way so out of a bad situation you end up the winner, elevating. Yeah, healing, and because automatic healing involves elevation. Yeah, you get an opportunity. God will create a new embodiment on you. You will get the opportunity to elevate and to look back to that situation. And let me tell you something. If you walk this path, I tell you from personal experience, there will come a time, a moment, after you walk a few steps on that path, when you will say, you know what, that was a great thing that happened to me. I should have divorced much earlier. I should have split it much earlier. Look at how many opportunities I have now of evolving, and how I found so many different ways to define a new purpose for me, which would have been impossible for me in that particular situation as spouse to John. You know? So I promise you, there will come a time when you will think this way, but only if you choose to detach yourself from that circumstance and just accept that, particularly in a situation when a couple becomes karmic, you will not reach together a common agreement and a common healing, or there will be no way that both of you advance on the same path and look back at whatever was between the two of you in the same light. Not at that particular time. Yeah. So I believe this deeply. Now, the message again, to sum it up now, because I closed the video, is to understand that there are times when you must let it go. Even if, and this I say from experience, even if the other one is doing tremendous injustice to you, lying about you, stealing from you, and doing a lot of harm against you, I know that usually when this is done against you, it has the tendency to pull you into arguing and setting the record straight. It's normal. I felt the same way. I'm like, no fucking way you say these lies. But then to me, it's like, who the fuck are you to me anymore? Nobody. Why should I waste my energy now in explaining to you something so obvious? Let me be quiet and let you speak up the lies which you say about me, and let's see if the echo you get from your own voice speaking by yourself will wake you up and will show you in the mirror how deceitful, lying, and evil you became. Because this is going to be louder than my words. And I am pretty sure that God will speak through the silence back to you to show you how low-life, evil type of approach you have taken, and how you went out of your way to slander my name, complete lies which you knew were lies, only to do harm unto me. Yeah. So if you do this, I believe that you can detach from, not only I believe, I know, you can detach yourself from the karmic circumstance, situation, and connection, and you stand the chance to actually heal yourself. You stand a chance to focus on defining a new purpose for yourself. You clearly have an opportunity, regardless how old you are when you divorce or you split up. There's a chance for you to do things which you were not able to do before, simply because of being in that couple. Always being in a couple it brings limitations to you. That's always like so. Just because you have to be building something together. When you build something alone, then you have wide variety of choices. And I promise you that as you do this and you walk away, although it might seem to you like the other one is winning because he gets to say all these lies to everybody around you and so on, as I said in another video, that will be a chance for you to test people around you and to see who actually allows that individual to say lies about you, who stands up and says, man, listen, we've been there, we've seen both of you, she didn't do any of this, she was not like this, you're just lying because you're just angry at her and you just want to hurt her. But it's a chance for you to see who from your friends actually are true friends and stand by you. But more importantly, it's a chance for you to evolve, to heal and evolve, and to understand the purpose of why that happened. And I promise you that always, if you surrender that situation to God, you will never be a loser. Never. God will turn around that situation that you will become the winner. God will bestow gifts and embodiment on you to evolve not only spiritually but also in material existence in such a way that you will see the added value of winning through healing yourself and allowing the divine realm to make justice for you. And it will be much easier for the divine realm to make justice for you if you walk away than if you insist on engaging in a conflictual situation and keep having fights and going back and forth literally attaching yourself to a karmic circumstance and connection from which is very difficult to get out, or if you do get out, it's going to be much more painful. Yeah, I'm going to stop now because it's 37 minutes. I hope I convey the message that God wanted me to convey. I will check with God after this video to see if there is anything else that He wants me to say. I think the most important thing to remember is that each couple has a chance to become divine if they work together and they love each other. And each divine couple which doesn't stay in light and doesn't love the partner stands the chance to become karmic. So basically staying in light, working with God, and cherishing the opportunities God gave you are extremely important. Otherwise, you just turn karmic and you stand a chance to regret it later on.